I don't know what's
What's
wrong
up,
with him.
everybody? Welcome
there.
to the Put It in the Book show. We are tonight's entertainment. This is our third off-season special. I am Steve. I got Mr. Laris right there to my left.
Yo.
Wait a second. Oh, there he is. Rodriguez right down there.
Hello.
And producer Joe behind the imaginary fake glass. Welcome in, one and all. We got a shit ton to talk about, so we'll get right into it here. But of course, as we always do, let me ship it off over to what's your name? Lord Keithred Hayes.
Lord Keithred.
I was trying to remember that. I couldn't.
This segment is brought to you by Brute from Fabergé.
Brute Fabergé.
That's
The Divide Line. What's up, buddy? What's up, guys? George, what's up?
You better start sharing because I'm going through this fast. You know why?
Don't do that.
Because this segment is brought to you by BrooklynWaterCoffeeRoasters.com. BrooklynWaterCoffeeRoasters.com. From their roaster to your front door, lots of delicious flavors for you to choose from, such as dark roast, dark chocolate, a rich chocolate flavor, delicious coffee. Mwah, it's chocolate. You think it's a lot of calories in that? I'm going to ask Rodriguez because you're going to delay. Rodriguez, how many calories are in that?
Settle.
Boom. There's also a high energy line coffee we all love because we all love extra energy. And one of the flavors we have in the high energy line coffee is Jacked Up Cupcake, a rich, delicious non-chocolate, a rich, delicious vanilla cupcake flavored coffee with 50% more caffeine per cup. And it's also what we like to call our friend Rodriguez up there because he's a jacked up cupcake. And then there's the other flavor out there on the energy line that I love the most. It's called Cinnabuzz. Cinnabuzz is really good, 50% more caffeine per cup. And if you don't like flavors, that's fine. There's non-flavored coffee, such as medium roast. It's one of the hands down most popular coffees out there. And you have a choice of several different flavors. They're non-flavored coffee. They're all delicious. They're all for you to choose from. Get on the site right now. It's called www.brooklynwatercoffeeroasters.com. From the roaster to your front door. And if you act now and use the code PopCulturePros, you will get your third bag free, but you must buy two. Thank you. You ready, Faraci?
Thank you for your support. Frank Terzio, every time Frank joins us, I think of turd. Frank Terzio, what's up, buddy? George, get that morning wood while you can.
Hey, Frank.
Morning wood. Yeah, morning wood is some good stuff. There's also the morning wood out there. Actually, I really like the morning wood coffee. It's a delicious flavor. But again, if you're not into flavors, there are non-flavored coffees out there. www.brooklynwatercoffeeroasters.com. From the roaster to your front door. Guaranteed to ship within 24 hours of his roast. You done yet, Faraci? Let's go.
I don't, I want to be effective.
He's snapping at you.
I'm sure everybody caught all that as fast as you were going.
Wow.
Well,
He sounds perturbed.
Brooklyn.Water.Coffee.
This is entertaining as shit right now. Gotta tell you.
He's been taken off the air. Oh my god. What is it?
And it wasn't me.
I got taken off. Thanks, Joe. Let me start over again. W.
I can't even hear him.
Water, coffee, roasters.
Coffee roasters.
From their roastery to your front doory.
Frank, who's our third baseman? We'll get into that in a few minutes. We have a nice solid debate on tap for that. But let's get to some quick news first before we get into major Met news. A nice little thing that happened today was that the Negro Leagues are now going to be recognized as major leagues, which is a long time coming here. So what it means is that the Negro Leagues were actually a major league organization, and their stats are going to start being counted in major league stats. So a few things that come out of that is that Willie Mays. So Willie Mays played briefly in the Negro Leagues. So Now moving forward, as we lose Rodriguez, his hits from the Negro Leagues are going to be counted in his major league totals because now it's all part of the major leagues. I for one think it's about time. It's tiresome to talk about this being separated from that, and I think one of the good things that came out of 2020, and it's few and far between. But this is it. This is one of those, because if you are going to acknowledge the nonsense that happened in 2020 in baseball, and some of it we're a fan of, but you have stuff like runner starting on second base in extra innings, the DH, which we loved, which we hope to bring back, and some of it was ridiculous, some of it was potentially the future of baseball, and if you're going to acknowledge that, you got to acknowledge the Negro Leagues and some of the amazing players that played there. Now we're going to count into Major League stats. Keith, what are your thoughts on this? I'm pretty sure I know what your thoughts are on this, but I'll let you put them into Laris words. You're on mute.
Thank you.
There you go.
I got a million thoughts on it, but high level, were you laughing at my name change over there?
No, I missed it.
I changed producer Joe's name.
Okay.
Love you, Joe. But yeah, I got a lot of thoughts on it, but high level, just to sum it up, I think, right. So let's focus on one person like Satchel Paige. Mm-hmm. The guy was amazing, and in his latter years, and when I say latter, I mean most people in this day and age, except Julio Franco, do not make it into that. I think he started pitching in the majors when he was in his 40s, right? Something to that effect. I don't know the age. Forgive me for not having my facts, because all this just came out today, and I do have a day job, so I wasn't able to look it up. But I mean, even when he was out there, he was super competitive, and he was way past what we would consider his prime. And my point in mentioning that is, the Negro Leagues was extremely competitive, and I think a lot of the argument was prior to people really being open-minded and starting to get on the other side of racism, hopefully, right? Not everybody, but a lot of people, is to really recognize that Negro League was probably in a lot of ways even more talented than the spotlighted Major League in certain areas, and his stats are completely legitimate. Yeah. A lot of the arguments, it's like taking a AAA player and saying, let's put him in the Hall of Fame. And you can't say, well, no, we can't, because he didn't face Major League players. But Satchel Paige, and again, I'm just focusing on him. There's a lot of other people out there, because I can only do this off the top of my head right now, was an amazing pitcher. And his stats are legitimate because the competition was legitimate. And the competition was probably comparative to the Major League Baseball at that time, if not in some cases more so.
Right.
So I think this is a great move. I think it's long overdue. I think it's almost embarrassing that it's happening now and not so long ago, but it's never too late. And I love it. Thanks baseball.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
Rodriguez, I know that we lost you for a second, but we started talking about how the Negro Leagues are now going to be acknowledged as major leagues, which, a long time coming. And Keith, to your point, when you said that, some of the talent in the Negro Leagues better than some of the talent in baseball, yeah, obviously, yeah. When you restrict, I mean, you say it in a sense that, it's normal and it should be normal, but when you exclude an entire population of people, you have no idea what the talent is over there. Satchel Paige could have pitched 8 no-hitters in the major leagues.
Right, and that's why. That's kind of why.
Know.
Real quick, that's kind of why I chose him, because he did make it to the other side. And when I say the other side, I just mean the parallel universe of the white universe and the black universe, which is unfortunately the way it was. And when he made it over to the Major League Baseball universe, he was extremely competitive, like I said before, way past his prime. And if he was doing that past his prime to Major League Baseball players, which everybody held in such high regard, imagine how good he was when he was in his prime, doing it in the Negro Leagues. It's a crying shame. And I hope that if there is another side of this life and they're up there, that they are finally getting some justification for their talent, because it's terrible. It's an unfortunate part of the history in this country, but we need to get on the other side of it.
Yeah, and Tom, good point. Never too late to do the right thing. And Rodriguez, it doesn't happen often. We don't agree on everything on this show, but I think with this subject, we're all pretty like-minded. But obviously, gotta give you a shot to talk about this. And then one thing I'm not sure if you caught. I don't know when you went out, but guys like Willie Mays who played some. And he's just an example, but he played some in the Negro Leagues, minimal. Obviously, for the most part, was in the major leagues. Those Negro League stats are going to be added to his major league totals because it's all encompassing major league.
Ruh-roh. I love it.
But with Willie Mays, it's not astronomical change. It was minimal.
Oh, but for Satchel Paige, he made
Satchel Paige.
I got to go back and look at his Negro League stats. That may be a game changer.
Yeah.
Josh
Rodriguez,
Gibson.
Josh Gibson. Boom. Yeah. I mean, there's endless. I mean,
there's endless guys that all had some moniker, some type of funny name that made them memorable. But all the Negro League players that traveled throughout the country, and they kept their stats because they were very proud of how they were able to play, and they kept stats when they played against the major leaguers because they would have, I guess, barnstorming games or something where they would play against major league guys, and they would destroy major league teams. They were that good, and because of crazy nonsense racism, they weren't able to show us to be there and participate. I mean, I don't know if I ever told you guys, but when I went to the Mets camp, I spoke with what's the third baseman? Charles, the black third baseman we had in '69.
Ed Charles.
Ed Charles.
Ed Charles. I spoke with him on the bus rides back and forth from the hotel room to the stadium, and he told me about being locked out in Florida, northern Florida, being locked out of a stadium. They wouldn't let him play because he was a black guy on the team. He couldn't even get into the stadium. That's how bad it was. And this is Ed Charles, who played in New York on the Mets in 1969. So they weren't far removed, And when he told me these things, I all I could do was just stand there and say, "I'm sorry." He goes, "Well, what do you got to be sorry about, kid? It wasn't you." But something like that. He's 70-something years old, and he's telling me the story, and I'm just amazed and blessed to be speaking to that man. But
unheralded spokesman of freedom in this country, a champion of freedom. I mean, that's brave. They threaten black players' lives. I mean,
all the time.
Yeah, that's brave.
All the time. So
God bless them for taking that stance.
It's
Absolutely.
just, if that's what you guys are talking about, I think it's a fantastic thing. I think the stats belong. If at worst they should be included in the minor leagues. They should be comparable to the top echelon minor league teams, because these guys will play the pros and beat them soundly.
Yeah, and it's not like it's my final thought on this is it's not like you can't count the Korean baseball league stats and major league stats. People are playing in Korea because they can't get a job here. Those guys weren't even offered a job, and they were smoking the ball. They were going 9 inning complete games left and right, and they were just as good.
Multiple games in a day. They were pitching 2 and 3 games. These guys,
Yep.
Like we did when we were little, but these were grown men doing it.
Exactly.
And just to quickly segue, and I know we got to move on because we're trying to wrap things up today, but just to quickly segue into today's world, that's it is why I admire completely a Major League Baseball player such as Granderson, because we do have a little bit of an issue in Major League Baseball today, and that is there's not many black baseball players today. And I don't know the numbers, but I know in recent years it has been getting less and less. And Granderson, he's a proponent of putting baseball fields and coaching in areas where it's heavily black populated, and I think that will only enhance our entertainment, because they're there for our entertainment. Let's be manufacturer, right? All baseball players are there for entertainment.
Yeah, watch the
Create the
talent.
show. We can have a great time, and I don't care what color, race, creed you are. Just get out there and hump it. Bust your hump, like Granderson did. Like
Hump it.
hump it. I know I said it, right. I tried to get right past it, but nothing gets past you, Faraj. But like Conforto, even Nimmo. I walk and I jet down to first base. Just get on base, play the game, play a sound game, and I am glad that there's people out there like Granderson who are trying to make the game more multicultural, because I feel like that is a missing aspect today. Maybe that's controversial, maybe it's not, but that's my feelings on it.
It's facts. The World Series champion Los Angeles Dodgers have one black baseball player on their major league roster, and that's Mookie Betts.
Mets traditionally were very Latino and white. The Mets, they are more multicultural, and even today we have a Latino manager, we've had Latino GMs, but a lot of players do not. A lot of teams, and I don't think it's on purpose. I'm not accusing anybody of anything, even if there is a reason behind it. But I think a lot of teams should be taking effort to be a little more multicultural. Of course, hiring the proper person for the job, but keeping in mind just trying to be a little more multicultural and expanding out to other countries, and even within our own country, a minority / multicultural atmosphere. But anyway, I can go on about that for hours. I have a lot of passion behind that kind of thought, but we got a lot of show to do.
All right, so Saturday, moving on to straight up Mets talk here. Saturday, one of the greater days in recent Mets history. We got a couple of guys. We got our GM. We got our new catcher. But let's start with the GM and Jared Parker. Joe, if you want to cue up that video. I don't know why I keep on saying Parker. Why do I said that 3 times?
I don't know, but you just gave me the opportunity to correct you, and I love this, so thank you for that.
It is very rare to happen. Who's Jared Parker?
That's your sister's uncle.
Here today to announce that Jared Porter has been named the general manager of the New York Mets. Jared has, in my mind, a vision that is very closely aligned to mine and to that of Steve Cohen, and look forward to many years of connection and collaboration.
I want to thank Steve Cohen and Sandy Alderson for selecting me for this position, for having the trust to put me in a role like this. I couldn't be any more excited to be here. I think New York is the greatest city in the world. I think Citi Field is the best ballpark in the major leagues. It's an incredible, passionate, energized fan base. There's a strong core of players, a good blend of youth and experience, of course anchored by one of the best starting pitchers in the league and Jake DeGrom. I'm excited to get to work.
Jared expressed how important it was to bring talent into the organization. Not only player talent, but front office talent. Utilizing that talent in a culture that gets the best out of everyone.
What we've talked about the most is, just a cultural shift for one. It's really important to create a situation where you're a really hard team to play against. You're hard to game plan against in all areas. I've always been a big believer, in a term that I've used with people is you need to dominate the job that you're in. If you dominate the job that you're currently in, you're going to get more opportunities down the road. The goal of players to win. I think it's the goal of front office people to win, coaches to win. So it excites me. I want those expectations, and I really want to provide that kind of an atmosphere and a situation for the fans of New York. I'm pumped to be a Met.
Ooh. Sorry, got excited.
Okay, so Jared Parker is a pitcher. Jared Porter is our GM. Harry Parker pitched for the Mets long time ago. So there's a lot of Parker stuff going on, and screw you, Keith, for getting me there. All right,
Who is Harry Potter?
Harry Potter is this guy who is on, in movies and Universal Studios, that kind of stuff. All right, so Porter, Mr. Porter, Bingo, Frank, Bingo was his name-o. Jared Porter, it comes to wasn't the first guy that we thought of. We were thinking Oakland, little Theo, that type of thing. But when you really look into what he's done, he's part of 3 championships with the Red Sox, part of a championship with the Cubs. He's certainly got that championship pedigree to him because he's been learning and learning and learning. And just hearing him speak, obviously there he's saying all the right things. I would have liked him to say the best pitcher in baseball, but there's that. And yes, Steve Martin was shown. Keith, move it over a little bit. So I don't know why, but Sandy had a little mini statue of our boy right there. The gnome. You don't know me. So all right. So that happened. Frank, we appreciate you. Watch us on the replay. The video stays here on Facebook and on YouTube. It wasn't the very first choice. It might not have even been the second choice that we thought of, but pretty good selection. And we'll start with Rodriguez on this one, but pretty good selection with the pedigree behind it. Sandy's backing, kind of got the same thought process as Sandy said, as him and Cohen. So what are your thoughts on this?
Great hire. I mean, to be honest, when they named some of the people that he was talking to, I was leaning towards the guy from Oakland because I figured that's the guy that he probably knows, and has some familiarity with. And then I said maybe after that, maybe the guy from the Marlins because he at least was a vice president and has some experience. But then this kid came out of the blue. I mean, I didn't know about it. And it's a fantastic pick. He's won multiple world championships. He's been on winning teams. Let's say that because I think he won 4 with Boston. Was it 4 with Boston?
3 with Boston, 1 with Chicago.
3 with Boston, 1 with Chicago. Okay, so the first
he followed
one
Epstein around, right?
Right, he followed Epstein around. So the first one, he probably just there for he got lucky on that first one. He was just there. But the next 2, he was probably very involved in it because they speak very highly of the kid. They love him. And then the one in Chicago, I'm sure he was heavily involved. He went over to Arizona, I believe, right? And he was the VP over there and the assistant GM, or something like that.
They made some good moves over there.
And Arizona is a good team. So you could see his handiwork, championships, and then he leaves a good team to come over here and lead us. He looks like he knows what he's talking about, man. Is checking all the boxes with the analytics, with the scouting, with the minor, talking about the minor leagues, talking about the major leagues, the independent leagues that he goes into and picks guys from. So his handiwork is everywhere, And I was a little worried when Omar Minaya left that the Latin hand was gone because he was the guy that would go into the Latin pools and pick guys and he commanded a certain type of authority, a certain type of respect that he could sign those young Latin guys, like Rosario's, for example, those type of guys.
Sure.
So with this guy, it seems like it's not going to be an issue. He's going to have his hands in everything, and he's going to make sure that we're prepared. I like him. He's young, can build our organization for a good 10, 15, God willing, 20 years. If he's there for 20 years, he's done a lot right. So that's what I'm hoping for.
Sure. All right, and then Keith. So he comes in here. He's got this track record, and very important in my eyes is that in those organizations, the Red Sox and the Cubs, and even Arizona, they were spending. So he's not a guy that is has a history on these teams that were like Kansas City and Milwaukee, where they were cash strapped, or even the Mets prior to this season, where they were cash strapped. He's been in organizations where they've been allowed to spend, and they've done it obviously in the right way, more so than not. You can nitpick here and there, but just the way he goes about his business just seems like that professional guy. And Rodriguez, to your point, it is about time. Terry Collins was a manager for 7 or 8 seasons. If you think about GM stuff, Frank Cashin, outside of that, it's not been this long lasting thing with the Mets where
Right.
10, 15, 20 years of a manager or a general manager, and you see that with other teams. So a little bit of jealousy on my part. But so Keith, knowing that he's got the championship pedigree, he's been in places where he can spend the money, and he hasn't overdone it. Not that he was the GM, but he's not been a part of the administration that has overdone it. They've obviously done it just right 4 times. So what are your thoughts on this? What did you think about when you first heard this hire?
So you just covered like a whole array of things right there, but I'll try to sum it up because there's so much to cover about it, right?
Excitement!
I mean,
I'm excited!
And if you know us and you've been with us long enough, and if you haven't, you will learn eventually. We can go for hours. Like, we can make the show 4 hours, but you'd all get bored and not watch, so we don't do that. So, yeah, there you go. The kid, Scooter. So here's the thing, right? I was always taught, if you want to be smarter, you keep company of people who are smarter than you till you get to the level, and then you drop them and keep people who are company smarter than them, and you grow because your surroundings really kind of mold you, right? You and if you're open-minded and smart, you learn from who's around you and what you're doing. And this
I'm not laughing at you. I'm sorry. I'm laughing at what Max just said. And we'll get into it right as soon as you're done.
Yeah, what's up,
Just
cousin
Max?
Cousin Max, what's up, bro? Thanks for watching, of course, always. So my point in saying that is he has been kind of riding the Epstein train around baseball a little bit, and then he went off to Arizona his own. He learned a little bit more, and on that Epstein train, he learned a lot. If you're smart and you're astute, you will learn from your surroundings. And this guy's been around 4 championship teams, and from what I pick up from him, he's very smart and he picks up a lot in what's around him. And he's slowly grown. I mean, the guy's he's 41, I think it was, if I'm not mistaken. He's come a long way. It's old if you're a baseball player. It's young. It's young if you're baseball management.
For sure.
Level. And he's
Theo level
been around, right? He's been around a lot, and I'd like to think, and based off of his actions, it shows that he's learned a lot from these people around him. So, I think it's a great move. I'm very happy with it, and furthermore, I like the fact, to Rodriguez's point, that Sandy did not go with his comfort zone, because you notice. And you're around certain people, so you know them a little better and you trust them. You kind of go to your comfort zone, which is where you were, who you are, and what you've worked with. Yeah. And Sandy does that often. He dips into the Oakland pool, which is okay because Oakland is always on a budget, but they do have a very successful program. I don't necessarily have an issue with that. However, it's nice to see him expanding beyond that and getting what I feel was the right talent. This guy came from me from left field. Did not expect him to be a GM. I'm very happy with the move. And just to kind of quickly put up there, Real George's comment, keeping the seat warm for Theo Epstein. I think Porter's not going to move from where he is. I do think Sandy's keeping the seat warm for Epstein. I think Sandy is the orchestrator of the future, and he's going to pass that on to what he feels will build and continue to build constant championships in the New York Mets organization. I think Sandy wants to retire knowing he set forth a list of championships that will come after him. I think this is his legacy. Sandy's a very smart baseball person. Everybody in baseball respects him. Never heard a bad word about him. I think what Sandy's building is his legacy in his life, and then when he's gone, we will always remember Sandy for building this core of talent in the front office that's going to run this team. It's maybe I'm overshooting, maybe I'm being a little more hopeful than I should be, but that's really what I believe. So good move.
We'll see.
I'm very happy with what's going on, and hopefully we get Theo. That's it. Bye.
Or hopefully not, and we got our own Theo. So, all right. So. All right, a couple of comments. Obviously, Max is joining us. Steven, Gines, hey, buddy, what's up? Hope you're feeling better.
Feel better, Steve.
Hope you're definitely.
Another Steve? Oh, my God. I'm fucking tired of these Steves. Too many Steves.
Well, is what it is. All right,
All
so
right, I love you
all right,
guys,
the other guy that we got is actually going to hopefully make a difference on the field. And so his name is James McCann. He's a catcher. He played for Detroit, played for the White Sox. And real quick here, as we get ready for this conversation, let's watch a few clips of Mr. McCann, our new backstop, 4 years, $40.4 million or something like that. So let's get a taste of what we're going to be getting come 2021.
Woo!
Tell me if this is not the most mundane, as there's a fly ball to right field. Pretty well hit. Gonzalez going back to the wall, and that's up and out and back in again.
Anything that happens after that, you never know.
Base hit to left field. James McCann.
Switch hit.
Yeah, they needed one more. James a drive to left field. That's well hit way back there, and look out, Flo.
And he can still throw strikes.
Oh my. Squares up a fastball and hits it a mile to left.
There goes Mondesi. Throw to third. It's waiting for him. Runner goes. Throw down to second. In the dirt, McCann's throw to second is a little high, and Reyes is out. Nice.
James McCann's had a nice night. He's singled and homered. Off the end of the bat out to center field. Zimmer started out and then comes in, plays it off a hop.
Right center field. That flies to the alleyway and down for another hit. Sox get one more run. Left side, fair ball down the line, tracing it into the corner. Grandal scores, Abreu stops, and James has himself an RBI double and a 2-0 lead. The Angels, the Yankees, and Baltimore. There it is to right field, and James McCann drops it in as advertised. Kepler forgot something, and James is at second base with one out.
But, you know, they didn't get the file on you yet.
James McCann, fly ball center field. Reynolds back at the wall. It is gone! Structure your bullpen in a way that's favorable. That ball's waylaid. Stop the conversation. It is out of here. Bring him home again for the second time tonight, James McCann. James McCann in the air, right center, and that plugs the alleyway. Just short of the warning track, Sox retake the lead. James into second, RBI double. That ball's well hit to left field. Rosario back at the track, at the wall. Bring him home. 3-2. McCann hits it skyward, right center field. Toward the alleyway it goes, and it's gone.
God,
Right,
I miss
so-
baseball.
so look,
I freaking miss baseball. Just saying. Go ahead.
I chose that clip. There were a bunch of different clips out there, but I chose that because it shows a whole array of ways that this guy can beat you. So first of all, he smokes the ball. You hear how hard he hits that ball. He drives the ball to right center field. Did you notice him behind the plate? You know, actually get down and block a ball and throw a guy out at second base. What? The quick release, like he gets the ball and immediately the ball is right here by the ear, exactly where it's supposed to be. So, and it you know, the best thing for him is that there's two things. Number one, he doesn't have to wear that ugly White Sox uniform anymore.
Can I just say real quick?
That throwback one?
I do like the throwback. You don't like it?
Putrid.
I kind of like it. Rodriguez, you hate it too?
I don't like it.
It's hideous.
Maybe
It's
it
hideous.
reminds me of childhood.
Well, yeah, okay.
Childhood.
But
it's like the old Pirates hat. They're freaking horrible, but it reminds me of my childhood. And I don't care if they're horrible
I
because
had,
Stargell days.
I had one of those hats in blue with pinstripes around it with a B. We were the Bucks.
I think George, G-Money, if you're listening, I think posted up. I think he had one of those hats too back then. And
Really?
I used to mess with him about it. Well, because, you know, it was one of those, if I'm wearing a shirt that matches type of thing. But
Yeah. All right. So, obviously he's had in his short career, he's had two different careers. One with Detroit, where it was like, he was playing some of the time, like 105, 106 games a year with Detroit. He was platooning with a couple of guys out there, and then really kind of came into his own a little bit more so with the White Sox. Played about 120 games, which is fine. Rodriguez, I think we've talked about this. That sweet spot for a catcher. We don't expect any catchers to play 155 games a year. They're few and far between. But I feel like that. I don't want to put words in your mouth, Rodriguez, but I feel that the sweet spot for a catcher is about 115, 120 games. We got that reliable backup that can do the job, and especially with our team, a defensive guy who, because with our lineup, especially if the DH is in play. With our lineup, I feel really, it's weird to say this after the last few years before last year, but I feel confident in our lineup to be able to produce the run. So if in those other 40 games we need to have a Nito who is good behind the plate, calls a good game, gets a hit every now and then that drives in a couple runs, I'm confident with that. In 2019 he hit 18 home runs, 60 RBIs, 273. And if you think about what he did, right? Think about what he did compared in that year, 2019, to Buffalo. He's that much better because behind the plate he is significant. I can't put it anywhere. Significantly better.
Day. Yeah. You see how the guy moves, Faraci. The guy can actually move behind the plate, and you see the guy. He's a stocky built dude. He's a powerful looking little dude. He's probably not little. He's probably like 6 feet, 6'2". Bigger than me.
Hold on, because I want to.
What was that? I thought I saw like a muscle or something.
Yeah, this. So Max is saying I hung my Carter and Seaver jersey. 1 to 2 hours later, we signed McCann. So now he's going to hang Beltran so he can bring in Springer. Is that one cheater for another, or is that quality center fielder for quality center fielder?
You better look at it the way you're saying, because you're my cousin Maxie, but I would spit on that Beltran jersey.
Max Joe. He went from producer Joe to Gestapo Joe. He made Joe from mentioning Beltran too much. So let's just let's stop right there and move on.
Pump the brakes. Pump the brakes.
Pump the brakes. Let's forget Beltran. I don't. You could hang Beltran. Maybe I'll be happy with that. Hang Beltran from his feet. Over the in San Juan, hang him by his feet. Maybe we'll get a Springer to come over.
Wow.
In my Woodside group chat with my friends, we just met Yankee fans, and we had a little back and forth today, and Beltran came up. And I was like, only if Rodriguez was in this conversation.
Oh, boy.
Yep. But anyway.
Listen,
all right, Rodriguez, back to you about McCann.
You broke my heart. Anyway, McCann. Yeah, let's talk about McCann. He's a fantastic defensive catcher. His metrics have gone up the last couple of years. Apparently he's been working really hard in the offseason and been working with experienced older catchers to show him some stuff, and it works. You can never stop trying to improve yourself, and it's good that he's done that, because it shows that he has work ethic. Apparently, everyone and all the articles I've read on him, he's a studious guy. He gets there on time. He does his work. He's ready. He works with the pitchers. They like him. It looks like he's going to be a very good fit. And if he has that type of personality, a pleasant personality at the very least, the guys on our team are going to love him, because we have outgoing guys on our team, very outgoing personalities on our team, and they bring everybody into the fold. So right. I'm looking for a good statistical year from the catching position. Nito, if you throw him in for 30 or 40 games, even maybe 50 games, depending on how things work out, maybe he can put us some decent stats where he's not tired and he can work on his batting a little more. Because defensively, he said he's fine. McCann, 110 games, 120 games for Archie, like you said. Keep him fresh for the playoffs, God willing. And or spirit willing, however you want to look at it, Faraci. I did that for you only.
Capital G.
Capital G. It's going to be a good year, and our backstop is going to be fun to watch this year. defensively and offensively. It's going to be good.
Can I
Wait,
just
hold on one second. This is the reason for some of these advanced stats, because you can't just go based on one thing or the other. Buffalo has a higher career fielding percentage than most catchers that we've ever had, and that includes LaDuca, that includes Mike Piazza, that includes Gary Carter. So that's I think Buffalo is a prime example of some of the reasoning why they came up with some of these advanced stats. But Keith, what do you think about McCann?
All right,
Sean, welcome to the show.
You just totally inserted a whole different topic into what I was going to say. So let me just address that real quick. Yes, not into me, by the way. So let me just address that real quick. Advanced stats. He had a higher fielding percentage. You don't pay a person millions of dollars to play a position on your team if you're an owner, GM, president of a team, without actually going back and watching video of this person. Okay, stats, yes, they can be misleading, but yes, they are also telling. And if you're going to hire somebody like, let's say Buffalo, he's a free agent. Let's go way back to, 2-3 years ago we hired Buffalo, and you said to yourself, okay, I'm going to hire this guy. Why would you not go back and just look at maybe 2-3 years prior to him getting to your team of stats, and then video of how he handled the ball, how he stood at the plate? Come on, you're going to tell me they don't do that? You got to tell me, if the Mets weren't doing that, I'm going to shoot myself in the head, because every time I got excited over nothing. You need to pay attention. Advanced stats or not, there's a such thing as just knowing baseball. And if the guy is like being all goofy when a ball hits the dirt, that's not the guy for you. It's truth. And a lot of times your better fielding percentages could be because you're not actually in position to make the plays that you should be making, because you're not physically capable to be in the position to make the plays you should be making. A guy like McCann, he may stretch himself a little more because he's physically a little bit more able. What's funny?
You're not paying attention to the screen.
No, I'm not. I'm talking. What was? Oh,
tequila.
So, you got a guy like McCann who's a little more physically able, so he's going to take more chances. He's going to dive a little further to block a ball. He's going to go a little that extra mile to throw a runner out on a base, and his percentages may drop. But initially what's going to happen is he's going to make more plays. There's no way Buffalo can ever match McCann's ability to block a ball and throw a runner out. And that's the bottom line. And truthfully, in the last few years, what we really learned with Buffalo is the guy does not have the ability to really play behind the plate at a upper major league level, and it affected us. It affected our games. It affected the game calling, and I think it may have even lost us more games than we even realize. At the plate, if you're going to say strictly DH, maybe I would take Buffalo over McCann. Maybe not. They're pretty similar.
Well, look what Buffalo did last year. It was a struggle last year.
Last year's a little rough.
Buffalo wasn't. Yeah.
Spring training with a lot of players, especially older players, 30 and up. You take them out of the routine. You strip away spring training. You go home and train on your own, and then season started. Time to get into it. They may not adjust, or they may not adapt the same way a lot of the other players will. So I'm not going to hold that against him. He may come out if he's on another team in 2021 and have an amazing season with the full regimen in place. But I think McCann is a more rounded player. And I think his defense.
No. I disagree with you. I believe Buffalo is a more rounded player.
Listen, I don't have an issue with Buffalo. I like the guy. He's got a lot of heart, but truthfully, in terms of trying to win games and getting a championship, I think McCann is a great start. 110 to 120 games is also a great position for him to be in. It stretches him out. And if we get into the playoffs, we want him in there throughout the playoffs. We don't want Nito starting a playoff game. Come on. So if he's starting 112 games, good. Keeps him healthy, keeps him knees strong, and it lets him get into the playoffs. able to play every game all the way up until Game 4 when we sweep whoever the hell we're playing in the World Series.
Boom. All right. All right. So that's it. That's our new catcher. He's scheduled to be introduced to the media tomorrow via Zoom call, 3:30, 4 o'clock tomorrow. So be on the lookout for that. Keith, you do a great job of sharing out those Zoom calls and the new way of life. So I'm sure he'll do that. Here's one thing that I do want to talk about before we move on to a little bit of fun before we close out the show. Something that came up today is that the Colorado Rockies we've heard this, that they are looking to trade Nolan Arenado. And now, to nobody's surprise, or it shouldn't be to anybody's surprise, they are looking to engage the Mets because they can take on the money. So we've talked about different trade scenarios with Snell and Lindor from Cleveland, and now with Arenado. The Arenado stuff we kind of just brushed the surface on, and now today it felt a little bit more real because the reports are out of Colorado they do want to engage the Mets, and for obvious reasons. So here's an instance where the guy is 28 years old, or so, right? He's around 28.
I don't know.
You want to ask? Hey Siri, how old is Nolan Arenado?
He's 29 until April of next year when he turns 30.
29 years old.
29.
Yes.
Okay.
Thank you, Siri. So 29 years old.
Why don't you just tell fuck Siri? Did I curse?
I don't know what you just said.
What are you saying? Yeah,
Screw Siri.
what?
Yeah, I could have told you the answer to that. Screw Siri.
Oh, okay. Next time, go to him.
Yes.
Okay. Well, I'll say, hey Keith, how old is? Okay. All right. So
let's see the answer you get.
Here, so we have on MLB Network, they came out with a couple of different scenarios here. So here's a couple. Now, you can talk all day about the Colorado effect and whatnot. But if you really look at the stats, and this is a stat kind of thing to look at. The 5 years prior to this crazy shitfest of a 2020 season, he hit between 15 of 20 and 22 home runs on the road. So that's, for you mathematic whizzes out there, that's between, 30 and 44 home runs, if you equate it out that far. And not to mention the comfort of being home, wherever home is. Obviously, you get more of a comfort feel in Colorado because of the air and whatnot. But you got that plus 90-plus RBIs on what has been an up-and-down Colorado Rockies team, so who knows how many opportunities he really had with the RBIs. But don't come at me saying that this guy is not a superstar because of the numbers that he puts up outside of Coors Field. If you're hitting 15 to 20 home runs on the road, you're a legitimate superstar, and I don't want to hear otherwise. Yes, if you play your career at Coors Field, maybe those superstar numbers become, obvious Hall of Fame numbers, but that's not what we're talking about here. We're talking about this guy who can come in and play third base, hit 30 to 40 home runs, drive in 90-plus runs, and, by the way, save a shit ton of runs at third base because the guy's a vacuum. The guy is throwing guys out from the third base dugout, So for me, this is easy. If the price is right, you make the trade, and one of these is more obvious than the other for me. But let me pop these two up, and then we can get into the conversation. Come on, there we go. All right, so we got to take down this banner here.
The banner down. Yep.
Take the banner. Oh, thanks, Joe. All right, so this is the first one, and this is the one that I'm all in. Because you're getting Arenado, and you're getting rid of Cano. That's a plus on multiple sides of the ball here. Number one, the embarrassment. Number two is he's old and whatnot, and
it's the
a lot of people.
Come on,
right, and
it's the roids,
so,
man.
For 90% that, and 10% you don't want this guy aging on this team. Now,
Get out.
If we have the DH, different story. But let's go through it this way. Why would the Rockies want to take back Robinson Cano? He's got 2 years. The other guy's got more years, so they want to get out from under money. Brandon Nimmo,
and they're going to get additional talent. Nimmo,
right, of course. I'm just saying, if they're trying to shed money, why would they take Cano back? And that is the reason why. Brandon Nimmo, look, we all love Nimmo. We love his attitude. We love the way he plays the game. We love his potential in a fully healthy season, and we see that potential. And you guys, chime in if I'm off on this. At 280, 20 home runs, as a leadoff guy, 50, 60 RBIs. And this consummate guy who's out there busting his ass.
Can we just take 10 seconds real quick?
10 seconds.
Give a cheers.
We
haven't done this in a while. Welcome,
Who's
McCann.
it to?
Welcome, Porter. Let's go, Mets. Very
Parker.
Cheers to Parker.
Parker.
What
All
about
right,
McCann?
and then
go ahead. I'm sorry.
And,
What about
and
McCann?
He did a double toast.
There's
Did a double toast.
Porter McCann. Yep,
And for me.
And as always, Rodriguez. And then
No,
you got
and for
May,
Stroman
Brandon
coming
May,
back.
Jared May. He didn't say me. He said May.
Trevor May.
I didn't say
What did I
any
say?
first
Brandon
names.
May?
Yeah.
No, he said me. No.
No, he didn't. He said May.
Oh, okay. And
I
you
said
what'd
May.
you say? Parker. Parker
you-
May. What?
You've
Okay.
been in
Porter.
Florida. You've been in Florida too long. You don't understand the New York accent.
What's wrong?
All right.
Listen, that's a good deal right there. That's a good deal.
Phenomenal, right?
And
You got Brett. Is it Beatty or
once
Batty?
in a generation. It doesn't
Whatever you want.
matter. It'll be
Anyway.
X-Men soon.
It'll be
And-
Colorado.
I'm all
Brett Batty
for
in Colorado.
developing. I'm all for developing the talent, right? All for it.
All for it.
But we've been burned so many times that I don't want to. Yes, that there are these generational stars, the
That's-
Reyes
he's
for the
one of
Mets,
them. He's one of
and
them.
he might very well be.
No, Arenado is one of them.
Oh no,
Arenado
yes,
is,
yeah,
is a
1,000%. Sorry, I thought you were talking about Beatty.
No,
Okay.
no. It doesn't matter about Beatty. It doesn't
Thank
matter
you.
what his name is.
I'm going to pass it
What
over to you
matters
now,
is-
Rodriguez, because you're putting up what I'm putting down.
Exactly. We're in agreement, which I hate. So here's the yes, I do. I hate being in agreement with you. Here's the problem. Arenado, we love him. It's not even a problem. I would love to have a real third baseman. Having David right there for years was so wonderful, man. I'm a third baseman by nature. I played third base. I love third base. I love a great third baseman. This guy does it all. He hits for power. He hits for average. He's a vacuum at third with a cannon of an arm. What else do you want in a? What else do you want in a player? I mean, that's the bet. He's literally made top 3 third baseman in all baseball.
Oh yeah, I mean,
Top
he's the
3,
reason
right?
why David Wright didn't win more Gold Gloves.
Right, he took it away. He took
And
it away because
Max,
he was that good.
Listen, Max, I get what you're saying, but
What
Nito,
is he
Cano,
saying?
and Familia, they would reject. Major League Baseball would say, no, we can't.
Nito Cano and Familia for Arenado.
There's no value there.
What?
And
Max,
quite honestly, as a
here's-
backup option, I think we are more. It's more detrimental to lose Nito than it is to lose Batty or Nimmo.
No, it really isn't. It really isn't.
Who's going to be a backup?
And anybody, a backup catcher
McNeil.
is anybody.
Anyway,
Jeff McNeil.
we're straying from the point.
Okay, not you.
I am straying you all from the point.
Okay.
I'm
You are.
asking you to get back to
You're
it.
like you just threw a grenade over there, and we all looked over there.
Whoa, what's going on? You did
So
it right.
I mean, no. I mean, what?
So
Go ahead, Rodney. I'm sorry.
is there okay? I know that we have 2 trade targets from a positional standpoint, Arenado and Lindor. I'm in for either one because for me you can pop somebody in at shortstop. Yeah, either way it extends the lineup. That's for me. And I've been preaching. I like Lindor, love Lindor at shortstop, but the only way that I would even consider it is if he signed the extension, which would then equal Arenado at that point because you're spending money and you're trading pieces.
It's gonna be either or.
Yes, for sure. Is there, Keith, is there a scenario with all that we spoke about today and with the language that we cannot use on air for what we were talking about today, is there, in the right scenario, I'm not about all overpaying. So in an even trade, is there a scenario where you say, nah, we don't need Arenado?
I don't think you ever not need Arenado, but there is scenarios where you'll say no. And that is if we are not releasing as much payroll as we're taking on. And I hate to put it that way. Now, preface, right? All Met fans across the internet world are having shit fits about the tax threshold. Yes, we should pay attention to that as Met fans because it may affect what the Mets actually do. But we truly don't know what their intentions are, how much they're willing to spend, if they're willing to go over, if they're willing to even make it close to that, or if they're done. We don't know that. This is all suspect to our imaginations right now. So with that said, I think that Arenado is always wanted on our team. It's with the right deal. If we drop at least $40 or $50 million from our payroll and take on the $190 million that he has remaining, it'll drop his annual salary, if you balance that out, to $25 million or under per year, which is a steal for a player like Arenado. Lindor, the other side of it, I think is an even better deal than Arenado, but he's not signed. And I think it's less likely that you'll get him and do a sign-and trade. A sign-and trade is very, it's hard to do. You don't hear them often. It does happen. It's more likely you're going to pick up somebody's contract that another team wants to dump because they can no longer afford it, i.e. Arenado. Lindor would be amazing. He's younger, shortstop, great player, and puts up similar numbers in a park that is a little more similar to Citi Field. Which brings me to my next point with Arenado is the splits, right? The home and away splits. And I know there's a ton of different splits you can do out there, and there's a ton of different things you can say. But doing it based off of like 161 game split, Arenado, and I'm trying to get it up right now. My splits went away, so I'm just going to go off the top of my head, just not to stall here. He does do about 29, 30 home runs, about a 270 average, 90 plus RBIs a year. Away from Coors Field, obviously at Coors Field, I know you did, but I'm restating my point.
Reiterating.
Out at Coors Field, he is
a special guest.
He is at a much higher rate. However, he does bring something that we have not had at third base in a long time since David Wright's injury, and that's a Gold Glove. We are dying for defense as the Mets. Defense is huge. We have a lot of really talented pitchers, and our defense it screws them over, quite frankly. And if we bring on a Gold Glover, it is more valuable than anything else. And a Gold Glover that will bat an average of 30 home runs, 270, and 90 RBIs a year, $25 million a year. Bring it on. I know some other people out there are saying, well, it's going to approach the tax threshold. How are you going to get Porto signed? You know what? That's not for me to worry about. It's for Cohen to worry about. For me to worry about is how we're going to win games, and Arenado will do that for us. Bring it on. And if it's going to be the right deal where we get to dump off Cano and some other salary, I'll even trade Familia. Between Cano and Familia, obviously next year we got Cano's salary gone, but for the 2 years after that, that's $30 million, then $20 million.
Well, Timmy, live from where you at? Got a very important message for us. Timmy, what's up, buddy?
Timmy, actually, real quick, Timmy is working with Tom Cruise, and he's scared to get yelled at. So go ahead, Tim.
I just want to give a shout out to all you Floridians in your fucking 80-degree weather. Because I've been out here for 3 hours shoveling my ass off, and I got about 3 more to go.
Nice. Oh yeah. You guys have a big storm headed up that way, and big nor'easter between 12 and 18.
I was actually going to call you guys from outside in the snow just to give you a little taste, but I was like, fuck that. I'm not going to get that wet.
Is it starting to snow hard there?
Yeah, it's been snowing for about 2 hours now. I was just outside for 2 straight hours. I was like, I need a
break,
man, but I'm going in.
My brother sent me video of him warming up and cranking up his snowblower. I should have sent him a video of me.
I'm jealous.
Lowering my thermostat because it's too hot down here.
No, you're jealous when you can admire it from afar, not stand.
Oh, I'm not jealous.
No, I'm jealous. I want to be in there. I want to be throwing snowballs. I want to be throwing my kid in the yellow snow. That's what I want.
Okay, there, Alf.
5 minutes. 5 minutes, you'll be back in.
Yeah, palm trees and swimming pools for me. But go ahead, Tim.
You know it's not me.
I just wanted to bust a little balls and say I'm watching your show on my break. So have a good one. And
hey, we're trading Cano to the Yankees.
What?
Hey Tim, how about
Cano is going to the Yankees?
Yeah, okay.
Yeah, no, Cano. We're trading you guys, Cano and Betances for Judge. What do you think?
That's
boom, done.
Even fair trade.
Nice.
Yeah,
all right.
We'll pay the same amount of money for the same amount of games played.
It's true.
All right, Timmy. Appreciate it. I want some good video though. Get some good video of that nice snowstorm there.
Tim, what about the Woodside chat with all the Yankee Mets stuff going back and forth?
Yeah, that was pretty funny. Today.
It was.
That kept me entertained.
All right,
guys.
My friend.
I'll see you tomorrow on a good show. We stomped you out.
We stomped you out.
Tim, love you, brother.
Be safe.
All right, so I think we're all in agreement. The right trade comes along. Arenado, you grab him. Lindor, you grab him as long as there's an extension. The right trade comes along and it makes sense. You go for it. All right,
absolutely.
So we're gonna close out here on a nice uplifting note here. So recently, and maybe not, because we might not agree on this. But Anthony DiComo, who continues to ignore us on Twitter to try and come on the show, I even got the David Wright book.
Oh, that's gonna work. Yeah, we'll just call him a jackass. That'll get him on.
I will. It's been long enough. Come on the show, you jerk.
Jackass.
All right. Now we might disagree with him a little bit more.
I'm not coming to the show because you curse at me.
He put
I'm
up.
a New Yorker and I can't take a curse. Anyway.
I wouldn't come on this show be cursing at me.
I would just tell you
Why?
what and what.
All right, top five
Oh my God.
seasons for a pitcher as a New York Met. And look at Max is already disagreeing. All right, number 5, and we'll go through this pretty quickly here. So some of them are tremendous seasons.
Mm-hmm.
Number 5 on the list, Jesse Orosco, 1983, 13-7. Now this is the difference between the eras. 13-7, a 1.47 ERA, 110 innings pitched, in 62 appearances, 17 saves.
That's a pitcher.
It's freaking tremendous. Number 4. Now I will admire DiComo on this. He could have easily just put Dwight Gooden, Jacob deGrom, and Tom Seaver on this list.
Yep. Can I say when you said freaking tremendous? You sound a lot like Michael Scott. But go ahead.
Michael Scott he's a good guy. He's a good guy. Tom Seaver, number 4, 1973. He was 19-10, a 2.08 ERA, 290 innings pitched. Nowadays, some pitchers have to throw 2 seasons for 290 innings.
They don't throw 190.
Exactly.
Nowadays. You kidding?
251
one of my top
strikeouts.
Targets is Odorizzi, and I don't think he's ever pitched more than 180 innings this season. But anyway,
right.
He's a starter.
It's just different.
That's why their arms fall off.
Number 3, Jacob deGrom. And here's the thing with this one. If you go back 15, 20 years, the win-loss record just takes this out of perspective. But now, we live in an era where 10-9 is fine with a 1.70 ERA, right? 217 innings pitched, 269 strikeouts.
1.70 ERA plays in every era. Okay.
Oh, hell yeah. Hell yeah. And that's why ERA is more important than wins losses.
Nothing, yep.
Right. All right, number 2 on the list, another Tom Seaver. Tom Seaver was 20-10 in 1971, a 1.76 ERA, 286 and a third innings pitched, 289 strikeouts.
Unbelievable. That's unbelievable.
And then
The
number
era when
one,
pitchers were pitchers.
right? Number one on the list is Dwight Gooden. What could have been 1985, 24-4. 24-4. I know we're saying that the
20
ERA is more
games over
important,
500. 20 games.
Well, that was his.
but his
Cy
ERA
Young.
was even better.
Didn't he win
1.53.
and rookie of the year?
Yeah, I mean, 207 and so okay, this is 1985 still. So you get the 276 innings pitched and 268 strikeouts.
Right.
I mean, just off the top of my head, I can't think of any other seasons that should be included here. And obviously, he's done his homework, and none of us would have thought off the bat that Jesse Orosco would be a top 5 guy. But kind of like what George is saying, maybe there's a David Cohn season in there. Honorable mention was there was a Dickey. His 21 season was an honorable mention.
We've had a lot of good pitchers.
That's a long argument.
Bob Ojita's season in 1986 was a really good season.
It was
as a 5th starter.
That's a long argument. I mean, right, to Rodriguez's point, short and simple, there's been a ton of amazing season by Mets pitchers. So those are very good, I'll say, examples of what could be the top 5, and maybe they are. But that's an argument as a Met fan, and not these delusional Met fans on Facebook and Twitter who just talk crap for the hell of talking crap. Real Met fans, that's an argument that can probably go on for days. Yeah, I mean, there's a lot of good Max out there. Yeah, there's a lot of.
Max says in today's game he would have had a tube in his nose so he can bump between pitches.
I'm losing energy. Oh, I got this. 100 miles an hour. But I'd like to see 300 innings pitched. I'd like to see Kuzman's stats. There's a lot of things I'd like to see out there. But those,
Kuzma had some fantastic.
Yeah, some of the honorable mentions are Seaver in '69, R.A. Dickey in 2012, DeGrom 2019. Think about it, could have been another DeGrom season on there. Pedro in 05, Johan Santana in 08, some of the best ever. Then they talk about Matt Harvey, what could have been in 2013, 178 in the third, phenomenal innings, and then he got hurt. John Matlock, 1974, had 7 shutouts, a 2.41 ERA, had a losing record. But again,
wasn't he rookie of the year? I think
he was. Yep.
Yeah.
Yep.
I mean, we've had pitchers. That's our thing.
Oh, we sure. It's like
that's when we win. When we
do the Giants show,
pitchers.
Right? When we do the Giants show, we talk about the defense. All right. Last thing here before we go, and it is the offensive seasons. So I'll just go through this real quick. Number 5 on this list, and it's top 5. Number 5 is Mike Piazza, 2000 and not 2007. In the year 2000, he hit 324, 38 home runs, 113 RBIs. The guy was just a beast, and really turned our team around back in the late 2000s. Number 4, Hojo, my mom's favorite baseball player ever, and possibly my father. Hit 287 in 1989. Yeah, 287, 30. Oh, look at this guy. All by myself. Don't want to be.
Hey, what's going on?
All by myself.
Hojo hit 287, 36 home runs, 41 doubles, 101 RBIs, and oh, by the way, if you forgot about this guy, he had 41 stolen bases also. Hojo is one of the more underrated players out there, and I might be a little biased. 80s and then real early 90s, 90, 91.
He's a possible
switch hitting.
Possible uncle.
If it was for David Wright, he would be the all-time third baseman of the Mets. I used to wear a hat that said Hojo across it with a Mets emblem on the side.
I got a shirt. I got
And
a
the J
Hojo
and
shirt
the
out
O
there.
fell off.
1998. John Olerud. 354.
That was
What was his OBA? Something like a lot.
29,000.
Yeah, it was
430.
ridiculous. Yeah, he was.
Yeah.
The guy was a hitting machine.
He was my helmet wearing sweetheart.
Mm-hmm. Weird, but go ahead.
Just a machine. Like he could hit lefty, he could hit righties, he could hit for power, he could hit for average. Obviously, John Olerud was such a joy to watch play. Just hit the ball, and by the way, he did it on the defensive side also.
By the way, how many great first basemen have we had?
It's
a few for the only 40 years.
There's been a lot.
I mean, we had Rico Bronya and what was the other guy?
Oh my
Keith
God,
Hernandez,
Rico Bronya! Why did they keep
Delgado?
bringing this guy up?
Just to annoy you. Did it work?
Remember? Okay, so real quick, 1990 when Hernandez was gone, they brought in what's his name, Mike Marshall, to play first base
from the Dodgers.
Complete disaster.
All right, real quick, rapid fire. Jeff Kent or Edgardo Alfonso? Who do you want for your second baseman?
Fonzie.
Yep, me too.
Boom. All right. All right. So that was number 3. Number 2 was Carlos Beltran. In 2006, hit 275, 41 home runs, 116 RBIs. Rodriguez is gone. He doesn't want to show his face here for that.
Do you remember that catch in Houston?
Oh, for sure.
Oh my God!
By the way, Houston, dangerous situation out there. It was dangerous.
Why would they even do that? That's wow. That's like putting potholes on a NASCAR racetrack. Ridiculous.
All right, and then the number 1 on his list, and it might be a little bit biased based on what he just did, but the number 1 offensive season in the history of the Mets per DeComo is David Wright, 2007. I mean, you can't argue with it, whether it be because he just co-wrote a book with him or not. 325, 30 home runs, 170 RBIs. I'm sorry, 170? 107.
Wow.
170 would be just like astronomical. 34 stolen bases, a WAR of 8.4. When wins above replacement. He attempted 39 steals that year, 34 of 39. David Wright was fast, but he was also sneaky fast, and he was super smart when it came to stolen bases, because it was just to the point where his percentage was just so high that he just knew what situations to run. You don't have to be Ricky Henderson to steal a good amount of bases. You don't have to be Jose Reyes. You could be the guy with above average speed and just the baseball IQ is there. And you know when, and you read pitches, especially a lefty who has an unfair advantage when it comes to pickoffs. But I can't argue with it. Can either of you guys? He was 4th in the league in MVP voting that year, and he played 160 games. That was before obviously the injuries, but I can't argue with it.
If there was an argument, I would probably still stay in favor of David Wright because
the captain.
I am such a huge fan of David Wright. He is. I don't know about all time because there's so many Mets out there that I love so much. But he is definitely in contention of all time and easily can be the all-time personal favorite of mine. The guy was all heart. He gave it all on the field. When he went out there and he pitched. When he went out there, he played, whether it was at third base or at the plate, he gave it all. He didn't hold back. You remember the barehanded catch? I mean, this guy, David Wright, gave it all and laid it down for the Mets. I would love to see him come back in the coaching aspect of somehow and just get a ring because he deserves it so much. What an amazing player. Such an unfortunate situation with his injury. He'd be a shoo-in Hall of Famer if it wasn't for that. David, number 5. Let's go, Mets. We love you, bro.
Yeah, for sure, and maybe that's a nice little topic for next week, unless we have a couple of signings. But maybe we do our top 5 favorite Mets of all time. Maybe that's what we do next week.
So rough.
It's tough, and it would be make for a good discussion.
I would look in the mirror and argue with myself for hours.
I imagine you doing that. But on that note, let's put a big old blue and orange ribbon on this bad boy. A lot of content today. We talked about our who we signed, who we may or may not want to trade for. We talked about the Negro Leagues. We talked about our new GM. A lot of good stuff, and it's a lot more stuff than has been happening in previous off seasons for the Mets. So. Like I said a few weeks ago, this is going to be it's going to be a long off season because of what we've been through this year, and we really just want baseball back. And then on top of it, obviously the Mets are going to be more involved. Other team, the Indians want to engage the Mets. The Rockies want to engage the Mets. This is unheard of, guys. So be excited about this off season. It's going to be a more stressful off season than normal because the last 5 years we were in Rendon, we're not players in this. Top of the line guys,
Rendon.
We're not playing.
I don't like him.
Well, not that we wanted him, but at least we could have been in the conversation to a real New York team to be in the conversation for these big guys out there. So
and
now it's happening
about being in contention, but
exactly. You can't win with this fan base. But anyway, be happy about it. Also be stressed about it because you just don't know what's going to happen. And next week we'll have a nice little Christmas episode right before Christmas comes and goes. And it's crazy to think about it. 2020 is almost in the rearview mirror. Let's go around the room here and talk about any final comments here. Keith, we'll start with you.
I just say everybody sit back, relax, and strap on your seatbelts because you've never been on a ride like this before. Because Cohen is a new owner, and he knows how to produce and control the maestro. And he is out there willing to spend, and he's very forward. He's getting in touch with the fans. And I just say, Avi, my friend out there, just relax, calm down, and let things happen.
Settle.
Have some faith. I know we're all, and I have that same anxiety. We're scarred. Used to dealing with the Wilpons where we're just settling. Give this guy a chance. He's making moves. Just don't expect him to spend stupid. So if Bauer's not available, if Bauer's not available and we don't overspend for him, don't get mad. This is a process. It's going to take maybe a couple of years. Let's go Mets.
But hopefully Santa Claus is coming to town. Rodriguez, what you got? Final thoughts.
Santa Claus is here, buddy. But his name is Cohen. So it might be Boom. Hanukkah. I don't know what he is. But he's a billionaire who's a Met fan. Just imagine yourself with $14 billion as a Met fan and you own the team. Think of what you're going to want to do. Okay? Hopefully Sandy will keep him in check and not let him get Steinbrenner on us. But we should be okay. We have had a great holiday season already. We got a new owner. Got a new GM. We got a bunch of guys that should help the team, and we still have 4 to 5 free agents out there that we could possibly, realistically get if we wanted to, and a couple of trades that will make us great. It's gonna be a fun off season, guys. Enjoy it. Don't be miserable. Happy holiday, Met fans. Wear your mask.
Yeah, just stock up on the Tums. I have a feeling we're going to need it with some of the back and forth that we're going to start hearing.
It'll be fun. Enjoy it. Drink a lot.
Oh, relax because it's going to get stressful. All right, yeah, I echo sentiments of both of you guys. Just be careful out there. Keep your mask on. We can see the light at the end of this tunnel. It's happening. We're itching for baseball, all that good stuff, and that's why we're here. We're here to entertain the masses, baby, and that's what our executive staff is trying to do with the Mets. Follow on Twitter, follow us all over the place at the PIITB Show on Twitter and Instagram. The Put in the Book Show on Facebook, both the group and the fan page. And then visit popculturepros.com, where we're constantly giving away
PCP
advanced screenings. It's a lot of fun. It's PCP without the drugs.
And
it's more addicting. So head over there. We're giving away advanced screenings on different movies every single week, multiple times a week. Just do yourself a favor. There's a movie out there. I'm not going to mention the name of it, but it talks about COVID-23. I thought it was too early. It's too soon, guys. Too soon. But if you think our lockdown was bad, go ahead and watch the movie, and you'll appreciate what's going on now. All right.
If we haven't locked down in 4 years, just kill me now. But go ahead.
I don't want to get into it, but I'll have a review up by tomorrow morning. That'll do it for us tonight. We appreciate you watching. Appreciate you checking us in. Checking in for Keith, for Rodriguez, for producer Joe. Appreciate the good show. We'll talk to you next week with our Christmas episode. Peace
Happy birthday,
out.
Kristen. Love you. Daddy loves you.
Happy birthday, Kristen. Peace out, everybody.